Please welcome the CEO of Google Cloud, Diane Green.
Made in containers. Welcome to Google Cloud Next 2018. This is Google's biggest event ever. Also Google Clouds. We've got over 25,000 people registered, hundreds of thousands streaming from the cloud. And we know also how important engineering is to everything we do. So I want to let you know we have over 3,000 Googler engineers here, and we all want to talk to you. You're our motivation. So we live in an information age, and information's powering our economy, and information is starting to power every single business. You know, IT tech's been very exciting, always, but the scope of it is just mushroomed. In fact, I was talking to a CEO yesterday and mentioned that, and she said, yeah, my job's gotten a lot more interesting. Tech now encompasses all business and all society, and IT has gone from being a cost center to a key driver for the business. We're re-engineering how we do business, and that ends up going hand in hand with the journey to the cloud. Tech is now core to every product, and there are computer scientists making discoveries in every single discipline. Talking to CIOs, they also tell me that they now realize they're going to be shutting down their data centers. And the other thing they say is, looking at their workloads, there's just a tiny, tiny fraction of them that are in the cloud, that we must be very, very early. So no wonder Google is just seeing amazing growth. But why Google? Why choose Google as your cloud? Well, here at Google, we've been just working incredibly hard to build things for you. And if you think about it, Google is an enterprise company, but we're just a very modern enterprise company. Google's business is information. We have a cloud that's built to efficiently take in the information, organize it, and put it back out with a lot of intelligence. And this is what every company needs today. Information is driving the business, information that is supercharged, and as only Google can do. So a global cloud, it's unbelievably complex set of technologies and capabilities. Innovation is continually required as you scale it. There's been 20 years of scaling and optimizing Google's rather huge cloud, and it's been done by an elite and very experienced engineering organization. In fact, since I joined 2 years ago, I've kind of viewed my job as just surfacing all the extraordinary technologies and services, and then bringing excellence to how we make it available, how we support it, and how we make it easy to use for companies all over the world. The foundation is inside Google. We have TI, that's for technical infrastructure. People acknowledge Google has the most advanced cloud, and it is pretty amazing. It's many football stadium-sized data centers, all running carbon neutral. hundreds of thousands of miles of fiber optic submarine cable laid under the ocean, hyper-fast machine-to-machine interconnect, and specialized processors, Titan for security, TPU for machine learning, big data tools like BigQuery, data warehouse with automation and speed, Spanner for distributed global transaction consistency, and also something that makes GCP very intuitive to use for developers is we have consistency across our services with a common core set of primitives. It's harder to build that way, but our users appreciate it. On top of the infrastructure are many unique assets. We have Gmail, Calendar, Drive, Docs, Meet, Maps, Android, Chromebook, and if you have ads in Google, that data can be combined with your other data. And of course, last but not least, a phenomenal and fast-growing body of AI technology. AI and security, these are the areas where Google is heavily investing, among others. But why? Security is a #1 worry, and AI is the #1 opportunity. And that is the way for every company, I believe. Looking at security first, in large part due to all the horrendous attacks on Google over the years, we're now a world leader in security. It's built into every single layer. It's not bolted on. Google Cloud Security starts with the Titan chip that does, in every server and every Chromebook, it checks the boot. By default, everything stored and in transit is encrypted, and you can use Google's keys or you can use your own keys to do the encryption. Forrester named Google Cloud in its leader's wave for security. We announced 20 new security advancements in March, and there'll be another 10 announcements at this conference. For productivity apps, where cloud workers put their data, it matters. There is no more secure setup than to combine a Chromebook, G Suite, and two-factor hardware authentication that you plug into your USB port on your Chromebooks. And companies seem to be catching on. Chromebook enterprise sales were up 175% last year, and G Suite also accelerated year over year. G Suite's Gmail stops 99.9% of spam and phishing attacks. We're deploying in large enterprise. Veolia, one of France's largest companies, is deploying both Chromebooks and G Suites to their 140,000 workers, many of them mobile. Reed Hastings, the CEO of Netflix, is a power user of both the Chromebook and G Suite. And I ran into him a couple weeks ago, and I just heard this big wow. Like, what? He goes, just G Suite is just getting phenomenal. So AI, well, Google's founders saw early on the power of AI. They knew it would be important. And as I said, it's key to re-engineering a business. Today, it's built into everything Google does. At Google Cloud, that means data center energy usage, BigQuery, Gmail, and we are now working to make it easy for you. We're incorporating the power of AI into everything that you do. AutoML lets you build an AI model without having to have an expert in ML, and we're early in this journey. And judging by the usage of machine learning cycles at Google, I think we're headed for massive growth. Now, of course, we have major efforts in many areas, and I just want to call out in particular DevOps and open source. We want Google Cloud to be the best place for software development and deployment. So what we're doing is we're bringing Google's much vaunted automation, deployment, and monitoring tools to Google Cloud Platform. And Google has long supported open source. Open source is what lets you avoid lock-in with a given vendor, and it lets you avoid expensive operating system licenses. Google's a leader in open source. We have over 2,000 open source projects. We've released millions of lines of code under open source licenses, examples being TensorFlow and Kubernetes. Kubernetes is one of the fastest moving projects in the history of open source. The reason why is we were running in containers inside Google for years, and we took that learning and we rewrote it for cloud, and then we open sourced it. Not surprising that it took off so quickly. And Google Cloud's, as you know, is a forward-looking company. Did you know we have a quantum computing project, and we have several customers with early access via Google Cloud? Or IoT. TPUs at the edge and server side. We can take advantage of a full hardware software stack from the device to the server. We're proud of being cutting edge, but we're also proud of having the table stakes that an enterprise needs. We've been doing what the regulators and the industry analysts are telling us to do. In fact, 2 years ago at Next, I had a meeting with the industry analysts, and they were giving me a lot of hard feedback that we were not enterprise ready, and judging from other companies they'd seen trying to get enterprise ready, it might take 10 years. So we buckled down, we took the challenge, and 2 years of very hard work later, on those table stakes, we are psyched to be named a leader in 3 of Gartner's Magic Quadrants. Infrastructure as a Service, API management, and content collaboration, which is Drive, which is on track this week to cross 1 billion users. And we hope for more Magic Quadrants. And this year, we were recognized by Forrester as a leader in their public cloud platform native security wave report. When we talk about, we were also named a leader in the one for data analytics. I'm forgetting the name. When we talk about enterprise readiness, it also means bringing excellence in how we work with customers. As a result, we developed something that's been working extremely well. We developed a vertical strategy where we're combining customer-facing domain expertise with engineering domain expertise. We did health first. We had this opportunity to take Google Brain Healthcare's research, considerable body of research in health to the market, and we also saw the need and developed an API for health record interoperability, which is now in alpha, where we have customers like Cardinal Health, Leahy Health. And then I have a really exciting announcement for us, which is that we are now partnering with the National Institute of Health. And what we're going to do is make access and compute for large biomedical data sets available to researchers. We think this will accelerate discoveries around disease. And at lunch, we'll have thank you. And lunch, we're going to actually have 2 healthcare panels with a lot of luminaries, including the CEO of the National Institute of Health, and Toby Cosgrove of the Cleveland Clinic, and Eric Schmidt, and Eric Lander of the Broad, and Jeff Dean, and Greg Moore. But you know, it's working because last fall, we won the award for Best Cloud for Healthcare at the annual HIMSS Healthcare Conference, biggest conference for health every year. And this vertical is working so well that a year ago, we launched the other verticals: financial services, manufacturing and energy, transportation. In gaming and media, I just want to mention that Unity, the leading 3D game and design developer platform, is moving from AWS to Google Cloud. And by the way, thousands of startups are now building on Google Cloud Platform. An interesting little fact is we see a disproportionate amount of use of our tensor processor units in those startups. Retail has just been a great vertical for us. There's unlimited technology we can apply there. And today I am excited to announce that the giant retailer Target is running on Google Cloud. Mike McNamara joined Target 3 years ago, and he has led an amazing re-engineering. IT is definitely driving revenue at Target, and I'm really pleased to welcome to the stage the CIO of Target, Mike McNamara.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Mike's a pretty impressive person. He doesn't have a lot of time, but just tell me what you can about your re-engineering effort.
Well, I think, I joined Target 3 years ago, and I would say that I joined a company that actually understood the value of software and the value of technology, but hadn't quite figured out how to unearth and create that value. So in 3 years, we transformed just about everything. I'd say that technology has gone from being an anchor to the business to being an engine for growth. It was largely an outsourced operation. We insourced it. I'm a firm believer that technology is so core and critical to businesses and industry these days that to give it to somebody else to do is probably the wrong idea. So we insourced it. We reorganized the teams around product, agile, DevOps.
Yeah.
And it's made an enormous difference.
It's an unbelievable difference. Yeah. So why did you choose Google Cloud?
Well, to be quite honest, the way I'd put it is that if you look back a few years, only 3, 4, 5 years, infrastructure was like driving around in a horse and buggy, and today you got 3 performance cars there parked on the driveway. So you choose the partner who who you can get on best with, who suits your organization, and I think that Target and Google, have a lot of shared values. My guys love working with your team. We've learned an awful lot from Google about site reliability engineering. But more than that, I think it's a commitment to open source in reality. That made all the difference. At the end of the day, it wasn't me who chose Google. It was my engineers. Google was important to the engineering team, so it mattered to me.
And I hope you're glad you did. Yeah. Well, that's great. I was really proud of how we got you through Black Friday and Cyber Monday last fall.
Great job. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mike. Cheers. So the engineers chose Target. We focus on engineer-to-engineer collaboration. In fact, last year we tripled the number of engineers working with our customers. We have more engineers than we have sales reps. Customer engineers, professional service, technical account managers. We also have something we call Octo for Office of the CTO, where we have super senior technical talent, a lot of former CTOs. That has been in such incredible demand that we 10x'd it last year. And then also, we do not even want to do this alone. Partners are completely key to us and to our customers. And we have a lot of different several different categories. They're quite different. We have some very deep integration and technology partnerships with some of the big enterprise companies that we all trust. Most recently, we announced a great project we've been doing with Cisco based on Kubernetes. It's hybrid. It lets you run seamlessly between on-prem and in the cloud. Last fall, we announced with Salesforce integration of G Suite and also the ability to take the CRM data and the Google Analytics data and other data and put it in BigQuery. People are liking that. Customers really win when the tech companies partner. We announced SAP at Next 2017 and have made great progress since then. Here, via the video, to tell you about that is Bernd Lukert. He's someone that I have just so enjoyed working with, and here's his wonderful video.
Good morning and greetings from Waldorf, Germany. I'm excited about the amazing things we are doing with Google Cloud. This community and the opportunity to talk to you about our great partnership. Diane, Thank you for inviting me to your amazing data center in the Midwest last fall. This was a privilege and a proof of the depth of the partnership and the trust we have developed. It made us realize that Google was operating at a totally different scale. I also came to appreciate how much security was involved at every single point. Security to get into the complex, security for each server, and security to destroy drives that were no longer being used. Last year, we announced the availability of SAP HANA on GCP. We are ready with all certifications to run core SAP applications on GCP. SAP Cloud Platform, the core of the Intelligent Enterprise strategy, is generally available on GCP, allowing customers and partners to build and extend business applications using machine learning and IoT. We also announced early access of SAP Cloud Platform Android SDK. Furthermore, the first phase of the SAP Data Custodian solution is also GA on GCP. Customers like Colgate and other great brands are already running SAP on Google Cloud and are starting to really take advantage of all the great innovation. We showcased a retail industry proof of concept enriched with Google Cloud AI at our Sapphire Now conference last month. And our customers absolutely loved it. Diane, you and I remain very aligned on the future. We both keep pushing for openness, for more containerization, easier and pervasive use of machine learning, as we work together to create the best place to build intelligent apps for the enterprise. It's never been a more exciting time. Have a great time at Google Next.
All right, thank you, Bert. You know, as we do these engagements with the really large customers, the big system integrators are important. Accenture and Deloitte are two examples of our highly trusted SI partners, and we're really doubling down on the practices we're building with them. And we also love our small boutiques, and we will tend to help them with our engineers. And our channel is now over 12,000 people. 12,000 partners, seeing great engagement. The last critical thing that we hear from all our customers is a need for talent. And for that, we're doubling down on training, and we're also we actually help with hiring. What we hear over and over again is when our customer is working with Google, it actually makes it easier to recruit because engineers like to work with us. And also, if you're hiring, you should check out the Hire app. It's from Bebop. It's filled with AI, integrated with G Suite. Pretty cool app. We hope thousands of you will be trained or bootcamped here at Next, and hopefully also certified in Google Cloud. And in closing my keynote, I'll just say it has been an astonishing year of understanding how you want to use technology to drive your businesses. And we are working so hard at building what you need. And also building what you didn't know was possible, but will soon need, things like AutoML. Google's mission is to organize the world's information. That's Google's mission. Google Cloud's mission is to organize your information and supercharge it for you. And who better to talk about Google's mission than Google's CEO? Everybody, please welcome Sundar. There he is.
Howdy, thank you.
Have fun.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Diane. It's great to be here at Cloud Next with all of you and all these enormous cubes. Diane told me Google's containers were getting bigger. I had no idea just how big. It's probably the only place I can tell a container joke in the entire world. So really excited to be here. Diane mentioned Google's mission. Our mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. I've always thought we were fortunate as a company to have a timeless mission, one that feels as relevant today as it did 20 years ago. What's changed in that time is how we think about our users, and a big part of the change is all of you. In the beginning, we focused mainly on helping our users get things done in the context of their personal lives. But then we launched Gmail, and we realized we could deeply impact the way people work. Over the past decade, we have internalized this as a part of our mission. So now when we talk about our users, we mean businesses large and small, developers, partners, creators, and everyone in between. We want to help companies of every size, from the coffee shop on the corner to complex enterprises, large enterprises with thousands of offices around the world, to all of you here. So today, realizing our mission means helping all of you realize yours. To do that, we're bringing the best of Google's technology and infrastructure and opening it up to the widest possible community of partners, customers, and developers. And when we say opening it up, we really mean opening it up. We create open platforms and share our technology because it gets us to better ideas faster. We have seen this play out many times over the past 2 decades. Take the example of Android. It started 10 years ago. We wanted to bring everyone together to build phones. And so we launched with one phone and one carrier in 2008, and we put out an open source operating system. Today, we have an incredible ecosystem of phone makers, mobile operators, and app developers, leading to 24,000 different devices from 1,300 different brands. Kubernetes is another great example. It's built on Google's years of experience running production workloads at scale. We open sourced it in 2014, and it got even better as we began to incorporate best practices from the wider community. It is now the industry standard for running and managing containers. To go from release to #1 in just a few years is pretty amazing. That's the power of open source. Today, we are at another inflection point as an industry with AI, and we are going to take a similar approach. This is why we created TensorFlow to make it possible for anyone to use AI. Just a few years in, we are already seeing some incredible use cases, especially in healthcare. AI is helping doctors detect diseases and even predict a patient's risk for a heart attack or stroke. We all know AI holds enormous promise for the world. We are using it at Google to rethink and reimagine our own products, from search to maps to Gmail to Android. We call it an AI-first approach. And we want to bring that approach and the power of that approach to all of you. We want to make it possible for you to apply Google's years of advanced research and investment to problems that matter to you and to your customers. At its heart, that's what our cloud journey is all about. The cloud is going to be a huge opportunity for Google and for all of you. We are deeply investing for the long run, and the best is yet to come. I'm very, very optimistic about what we can accomplish thanks to the community here and the journey we are on this together. I want to turn it over to Urs Hotzley to elaborate a little bit more on our technical approach here. Urs was our first VP of engineering at Google. I think he was employee number 8. And he was working on cloud long before anyone was calling it the cloud. Let's give a warm welcome to Urs. Careful. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you, Sundar. As Diane said, cloud computing really is a fundamental shift in computing with many great things to come. But today, I want to talk to you about one specific aspect, namely how Google Cloud, what we are doing to bring the cloud to you, even for those computations, those workloads that are remaining on-premise the longest. Now, we all know that cloud gives you unprecedented reliability, flexibility, scalability, performance. And using Google Cloud Platform, you get access to almost unlimited compute capacity on the world's biggest and most powerful network. And that combination enables you to get new insights, serve more customers, get more things done. And on GCP, of course, you find services like Spanner, our globally consistent, horizontally scalable SQL database, or you get machine learning APIs to add speech or natural language understanding or vision to your applications. And you get BigQuery, our big data warehouse that helps you break down your data silos. And with our new Velostrata service, you can migrate workloads to the cloud in minutes. But cloud computing is still missing something. A simple way to combine the cloud with your existing on-premise infrastructure or with other clouds. And in fact, the industry has moved in the opposite direction of that. And that's a problem. Cloud providers do things their own way. And they often differentiate in areas that aren't really differentiated. They're just different. So it might be about specifying permissions or setting up a virtual machine or a network or any number of ordinary tasks. All of these are different in different clouds. And that creates a lot of unnecessary complexity and work. And it's getting worse because 8 out of 10 enterprises today have a multi-cloud strategy. And that's on top of their own on-premise infrastructure, which isn't going away overnight. So, as an IT owner, you have too much to do. You define security policies, you configure applications, you manage access to services, you monitor the health of your setups, you debug operational problems. All of this is hard enough in a single environment. But in a hybrid environment, the way most companies work, you have to do everything several times. Once for each environment, each with its own rules, right? That's a lot of unnecessary work. And so it's not surprising that administration has become one of the key expenses. So according to an IDC study, between 2005 and 2015, server costs fell by 15%. But administration costs rose by 83%. That's not a good trend, and we want to change that. Now, the move to software containers has helped some in simplifying and speeding up how we package and deliver software. The containers wrap an application and all the things it needs and allow it to run across many different environments. In fact, Google put containers into Linux over a decade ago, and as Sundar mentioned, 4 years ago, we released Kubernetes, the open source, better way to organize this universe of containers and microservices. And today, it's by far the most popular way to run and manage containers. With Kubernetes, you don't have to worry about operating system patches, for example. And it comes with many tools for managing releases, for load balancing, for networking. It supports continuous deployment, continuous integration. And that's all, these are all the reasons why Kubernetes adoption has been super strong in the last 4 years. So in a survey last year, nearly 3/4 of enterprises said they were using Kubernetes, and I'm sure it's higher today. So it's the industry standard for managing containerized applications. And of course, the best way to experience Kubernetes is on GCP with the Google Kubernetes Engine, or GKE, the only container service that's been generally available for over 3 years, and the only container service that's built and maintained by the same team that brought Kubernetes to you in the first place. But Kubernetes solves only part of the problem, because a lot of complexity remains at higher levels, especially in service management. So how containerized services talk to each other, how they're authenticated, how they can discover and use each other to build applications, and so on. And that, of course, is even more important today, as many companies are moving from monolithic software to microservices in an effort to make software more maintainable. So let me tell you how we are extending Kubernetes to address your fastest growing costs. I'm very excited to introduce Istio, another Google-developed open source product. And Istio extends Kubernetes into these higher level services and makes service-to-service communication secure and reliable in a way that's very easy on developers. So you can discover, connect, monitor services holistically across multiple locations, and you can still manage and monitor them all from a single place. And this automation doesn't just lower your administration costs, you actually have more information about your services, and therefore you can develop and manage them better. We started working on Istio last year with IBM, Cisco, Pivotal, Lyft, and Red Hat. And I'm very happy to announce that as of this week, Istio will go 1.0 and is ready for production use. And in fact, many of our customers are already using it in production, including eBay and AutoTrader. Thank you. So let's take a look at how Istio service management actually will work. So at its center are certified Kubernetes environments. We introduced Kubernetes certification last year in an effort to further ensure compatibility. And today you can choose from many certified Kubernetes environments. And on GCP, of course, GKE is the best way to use Kubernetes and has a fully managed service that's very close to the open source Kubernetes, but with much lower operational hassle. And the same will be true for Istio. So today I'm very happy to announce that service, Cloud Services Platform, which is a fully managed service platform that puts all of your cloud management of Kubernetes and Istio in one place and is created and supported by the same teams that write Kubernetes and Istio. So with the Cloud Services Platform, you can better control traffic with dynamic route configuration, and it's easy to conduct A/B tests. It's easy to have release canaries. You can do gradual upgrades using incremental deployments. And if an API is business critical, the Cloud Services Platform integrates natively with Appigee's API platform on GCP. So you can make your services available to developers inside and outside your organization through Appigee's industry-leading API management platform. And perhaps most importantly, the Cloud Services Platform can transform what perhaps is your most critical element of your computing strategy, namely security. Of course, it being based on Kubernetes, you get the automatic patch management of Kubernetes. But more importantly, you can use a consistent set of services that are independent of the application logic. So developers don't need to be experts on security. And these security policies can work on all services, regardless of where they're located. They provide unforgeable identities for each service that authenticate encrypted calls to other services, and all of this requires no code changes in your application. So you can have one security model and one set of policies versus many. For visibility, we're also expanding Stackdriver, our monitoring and management solution, so that service monitoring will work out of the box. So you can understand the performance of an application with built-in request tracing and profiling. And last but not least, the Cloud Services platform also supports serverless, making your developers even more productive. So that's a lot of functionality, but in fact, it's only the start of building a stronger, more customer-friendly, fully hybrid and open way to use the cloud. So let's look at this live at the demo. So please welcome Weston and Matt.
Thank you, Urs. All right, to see how Cloud Services Platform helps me as a developer or operator, let's take a look at a typical retail app, the kind of multi-tier app that just about every company, regardless of size, has. Now, for this demo, we've built a Kubernetes app called the Hipster Shop, your one-stop shop for everything you need for the hipster lifestyle. Let's actually take a look at how this app is implemented under the covers. To do that, we'll jump over to the Google Cloud Console. So we deploy this app on GKE, our managed Kubernetes service. Here, you can see all of the Kubernetes deployments that makes up this app. Let's zoom into the cart service. You'll notice that it's deployed across 2 clusters for redundancy, one in the east and one in the west. But as a developer, I don't want to think about deployments. I want to think about how these deployments are related to the microservices that make up my application. And Istio helps me with that. So I deployed Istio into both of these clusters, and immediately I start seeing interesting data for the services. And to see that, we'll turn to Stackdriver and use the new service management features that light up automatically once you've installed Istio. What you're seeing here is the new service topology graph in Stackdriver. Right away, instead of getting a list of services, I get a graph that shows my microservices and the relationships between them. The circles represent my services, and the lines are the dependencies between those services. If I hover over the line, I can see which services are communicating with each other. Oh, and by the way, all of this works out of the box, no scripts, no code changes. Istio automatically sends the appropriate metrics, which then builds out the graphs displayed here. So let's drill in a bit. If I click on the front-end service, I get a pop-out with several relevant metrics that show my service's health. I can see things like number of requests per second, errors that my end users are seeing, and even end-to-end latency for my service. Again, there was no extra instrumentation required. Istio automatically collects this data. But if I notice a problem, I'll want to investigate even further. Let's take a look at the new metrics view for the front-end service. The bar at the top of my screen shows me a timeline over the last 6 hours of interesting events that Istio captured automatically, things like errors or performance anomalies. The graphs off to the left show me critical traffic metrics. On the top graph, I get a count of requests grouped by error code, so I can easily see if users are hitting things like 500 errors. And if I scroll down even more, I get a heat map of my service's response time. This service-level intelligence that Istio provides helps ensure higher reliability and availability for my application. Now, that's a look at individual metrics. But what really matters is whether we're meeting our business objectives. And that's where service-level objectives come in. Here, you can see the new SLO dashboard. This gives me a detailed look at business-critical services, things like whether my buy button is throwing errors or is experiencing high latency. So in this case, we've established 2 service-level objectives, one around availability, which we've set at 99% uptime for a 30-day window, and another one around latency, which will send us alerts if we notice performance increases at the 90th percentile. From this screen, I can jump off into a number of new features like application traces and error aggregation for Istio-enabled services, which we'll get to in much more depth in the breakout sessions. These are just a sample of the features that we've added to Cloud Services Platform. Back to yours.
Thank you, Wes. So the Cloud Services Platform brings many advantages to containers because having Istio and Kubernetes, you manage not just the implementation and deployment of a service, you manage the service itself as it is running. Now today, for some people, a cloud strategy is just a combination of lift and shift, for your existing workloads and writing new single cloud application code for new applications. But that approach misses so many benefits of the cloud. Using Istio, in contrast, you get a common platform to train your people against, a common service and security model, reduced operational complexity, and faster innovation. So get more what the cloud has to offer: better security, lower costs, simplified operations, all based on open source. And as you just saw in a demo on Google Cloud, you get the best way to experience in Istio with a fully managed, hassle-free service that's still fully compatible with the open source version. But there's something else we want to show you today, and something that makes the cloud service platform truly revolutionary. So back to you, Weston.
Thanks. So everything you've seen here is running on Kubernetes, and Kubernetes runs everywhere. But the one thing we hear consistently from customers is that they love the automatic management features of GKE, but that they also need those management capabilities wherever they have compute, whether that's in their own data center, in a grocery store, or on a factory floor, everywhere. So let's go back into the Cloud Console. When we started the demo, I said that this app was deployed across 2 GKE clusters, one in the east and one in the west. But the one thing I didn't tell you is that the second GKE cluster isn't actually running on Google Cloud Platform. In fact, if we zoom into the location field, we can see Moscone listed as the location. This cluster is running on a vSphere rack right here on stage. Today, I am very excited to announce GKE On-Prem, a managed Kubernetes offering that runs inside your data center. With GKE On-Prem, you get the GKE experience directly in your environment. And the best part is that GKE On-Prem looks and feels the same as GKE in the cloud. I can continue to do things like edit configuration, set policy, or even deploy apps to my on-prem cluster, as well as my Google Cloud Platform clusters, all from the same tools. Think of GKE On-Prem as adding an additional zone to your app, but one that's running in your own data center. Back to yours.
Thank you. So there you have it. You can deploy and manage the same application using a single tool, on-premise if you want, on your own servers, managed through a browser. And so whether you're modernizing existing code by wrapping it in containers, or whether you're writing new modern microservices, you have one way to configure, one way to deploy, one way to secure, one way to audit. And either way, managing or monitoring the application is the same as on GCP. So you have a single, consistent, unified way to do your job. There's no multiple configs, no multiple policies, no multiple trainings, no separate teams. Just one place to do it right and deploy and go. And with our cloud marketplace, which we announced last week, you can find, purchase, and deploy container-based third-party applications into GCP or into on-premise environment and manage them exactly the same way. So that's what we mean by bringing the cloud to you. And that brings real, tangible benefits to customers. Because a consistent hybrid platform across all environments is a natural choice for many businesses for many years to come. So if you're running your services in branch offices or in factories or on ships or on GCP, you can use the same consistent way to deploy, manage, or secure those services. And I'm very pleased to see how quickly the industry is adopting a hybrid open approach. And Cisco is a key partner in this. We started working together about a year ago, and last fall we announced our plans to develop hybrid cloud products together. And I'm excited that we have made a ton of progress. Here to talk about this is David Gockler, Executive Vice President of Security's Networking and Security Business. Please welcome David.
How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for joining us today, David.
Great to be here.
So our engineers have been working together for about a year, as I mentioned. How does that partnership fit with your vision for the cloud?
You know, Urs, for the past 30 years, Cisco has been interconnecting the world, and the cloud era is no different. So you talked about it. What we started out going down this path of the cloud and the simplicity in the world has emerged into the multi-cloud era. So Cisco is thinking very deeply, investing in how do we network this world, how do we bring security to it, how do we orchestrate it. And you and I had a series of conversations about a year ago, Urs, that we found out we're very aligned with what our view is on how we're going to bring technology to this world. Right? Can we build an environment where users can build an application once and run it wherever they want? Right? Can we do that in an open and extensible way? Any architecture in the world today, open and extensible, based on Kubernetes, Istio, and then brought with Cisco's world-class enterprise-grade networking and security. And that's really what we've been focused on. And you know, I'm very happy to say we've made a ton of progress between our two teams. And we now have the Cisco hybrid platform for Google Cloud, the first GKE certified hybrid platform.
That's great. And in fact, I think you have an announcement coming up.
Yeah, we've made, as you said, we've made a ton of progress. We've been in trials with customers, just getting terrific feedback. This solution will go general availability next month in August. So this vision that you painted here and just all this tremendous work of how do we take an application, write it once, run it in the cloud or on-prem, customers can get started down that journey today.
That's great. And I'm especially excited that really our philosophy and our technology is lining up so well for our customers, and that we have a joint roadmap together.
Yeah, you know, we're both innovating. We both have very large engineering teams, and we're just super excited about what we're going to be able to bring to the industry together. The collaboration has been great over the last year, and we look forward to driving this forward.
All right, thank you, David.
Thanks, Urs. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, too. So back to the demo. What you saw today in the demos is actual working code. So the cloud services platform will be available in alpha this fall, and it will include all the features you've seen today, including on-premise GKE, Istio, observability, and centralized policy enforcement. And we'll also share documentation, best practices, et cetera, at that time. And just like Kubernetes greatly simplified containers and thus triggered an exploding ecosystem over the past 4 years, Istio greatly simplifies services. And so you'll see a very robust ecosystem of third-party providers and tools emerge for it very, very soon. So we're bringing the cloud to you, and we're ending the false dichotomy between on-premise and cloud. We help you modernize with lower management costs, get better insights, have built-in security policies all in one place, consistent from on-premise to the cloud, with a rich selection of tools and with one goal in mind. From the network to the applications to the management, we bring the cloud to you. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to welcome Prabhakar Raghavan, who will talk about some very exciting developments in collaboration and the future of work. Welcome, Prabhakar.
Thanks, Urs, and thank you all for being here. For over a decade, I worked at various companies competing with Google. And then it dawned on me, the secret to Google's many successful products, whether search, maps, photos. That secret is simple. It's the obsessive application of machine learning in the cloud to deliver magical user experiences. And when I joined Google, I was inspired to bring that same magic to the workplace, to reimagine how we work with G Suite. So what's G Suite? Virtually all of you know Gmail, which reimagined email over a decade ago. Many of you use Google Docs, Calendar, and Drive. And more of you are starting to use Hangouts Meet, our cloud-based, high-definition video conferencing service, and Hangouts Chat for team collaboration. Together, these applications have over 1.4 billion monthly active users. And that number includes 80 million students, your future employees. Now, over time, we put all of these applications together to create G Suite. And today, we have over 4 million businesses relying on G Suite. These include everything from small businesses to the likes of PwC and Salesforce. Companies like Airbus have chosen G Suite as an investment in their people to help them reimagine work, to remove the mundane from their work lives, and to let them focus on the true creative potential. Well, what does this mean? To get a glimpse of this, let's roll the video.
Whoa. Next Friday's pitch.
On tomorrow.
What you just saw was how one team reacted to a high-stakes challenge using G Suite. Infused with AI, no more version roulette, no attachment anxiety. I know you're thinking it's 10 a.m. and this guy's playing a vision video. No, sorry, that wasn't a vision video. Everything you saw in the video is either shipping reality in product or an announcement at this conference. My team and I went to talk to customers to try and see what it would take to truly reimagine work. And we came back with 3 inalienable design principles for G Suite. First, G Suite had to be secure. Second, G Suite would be smart. And third, G Suite would be simple. So let's take each of these 3 in turn and see what it means. First, secure. Our cloud-native security eliminates attack vectors that most others have just resigned themselves to. For example, you cannot lose a thumb drive containing a Google Doc, because a Google Doc cannot sit on a thumb drive. It sits up in the cloud. So your chief security officer doesn't have to run to the local laundry to retrieve all those thumb drives with sensitive files that employees forgot in their pockets. As you heard Urs say, a full-stack security is self-administering. No versions, no patches. Everybody is working on the latest and greatest and most secure version at all times. For two-factor authentication, as you heard from Diane, we have these security keys that plug right into your phone or your laptop. They complement passwords. They cannot be broken like old tokens. But let's look at the outcome. For G Suite customers that have deployed our security keys, to date, we have a grand total of 0 account hijackings. Now that is security nirvana. Now it's about more than just protecting end users. We need to make it super simple for admins to protect the users. Earlier this year, we introduced the G Suite Security Center. This is a one-stop shop that gives you security analytics and recommendations. For instance, here's the settings that make your enterprise more secure. Today, I'm announcing a critical new dimension to the Security Center. It's the G Suite Investigation Tool. So what does that do? It lets an admin investigate an unusually large amount of file transfer outside the domain, revoke access, zap malicious emails, and all of this from one simple, single console. No more legacy way of gathering logs from multiple silos, running scripts, cranking out the answers. Hours later, you have the answer, but hours later, it's just too late. That is security reimagined. Investigation tool goes into beta today. Next, transparency and control have been key elements of our data governance principles. And we heard from many customers that they'd like to have select users' data residing in Europe or in the United States. G Suite data regions will allow the primary data for key G Suite apps to be resident at the customer's demand in Europe or in the United States. And best of all, this is dynamic, meaning if a user moves or if a file's ownership changes, the files move seamlessly underneath the covers with no impact on availability of the files. Data regions for G Suite is generally available to all G Suite customers today. Now, you've heard Diane and Sundar talk about the many years of investment that Google has had in artificial intelligence, and it's the reason for leading experiences, magical moments in search, YouTube, maps, and so on. Many of you also know that millions of people of the world use the Google Assistant to get more done every single day. And we're committed to bringing that same magical assistance to the workplace. But we recognized that an assistant in the workplace wasn't simply building a consumer appliance and tossing it over to the enterprise. So my team went off to study what it is that users do over and over again every single day in the workplace. And the results, perhaps not surprising, are that we do 3 things repetitively. First, reading, content consumption. Second, writing. And third, meetings. So let's take each of these in turn and look at what AI means for them. One of the commonest forms of data we're presented with every single day is tabular data in a spreadsheet. In the old way, for the vast majority of us who don't know how to write a spreadsheet formula, you had to run off to chase a data analyst who would take your utterance and transcribe it into a formula. No more. With Google Sheets, you just ask your question in natural language. For instance, you can ask, give me the top stores by sales for the last week, and out pops the answer. That is content consumption reimagined. Let's talk about writing. How many of you set aside time every single day to respond to messages, emails, chat, and so on? Okay, I see a few hands go up. Well, you didn't see my hand go up because I don't set aside time. And the reason is I use some pretty magical tools from the G Suite. It's been a little over 2 years since we introduced smart reply in Gmail, still unparalleled in the industry. What Gmail does here is processes hundreds of millions of messages every single day. And for each incoming message, when appropriate, will pop up 3 responses that you could send. For instance, a response might be, yes, I can make it, or sorry, I'm unable to make it. What we're measuring is that over 10% of Gmail replies are these machine-written smart replies. Now think about that at an intellectual level. We're at a point in AI where 10% of your replies are machine-written, but human-accepted. And I'm happy to tell you that we're bringing Hangouts Chat, Smart Reply to Hangouts Chat in the coming weeks. Now, Smart Reply in Hangouts Chat, thank you, is thoughtful about how it goes. The responses are casual enough for chat, but still professional enough for the enterprise. And this is an approach you'll see us taking repeatedly. We'll build an AI feature on one G Suite product and then bring it to others. But that wasn't enough. You may have seen Sundar announce Smart Compose at I/O. And I want you to watch carefully at the screenshot that rolls now, and I'll point out a few things along the way. Okay. So you'll see somebody writing an email, and there's several things it's picking up. First, it's picking up the context for the email you're composing so that it's learning that you're writing about office supplies and suggesting completions like ink and cartridges and paper, not chips and salsa. It learns your personal facts, like your address, and completes those so you don't have to make errors. Something you cannot see here is that over time, Smart Compose also learns how you address your various correspondents. So for instance, with Diane Green, I might start my emails with a very chipper, hey, Diane. But perhaps for Urs, I'm a little more respectful, and I begin all my emails and say something like, sehr geehrter Herr Professor Dr. Hölzler. I'm thrilled to announce that we're bringing Smart Compose to G Suite customers, ramping up over the coming weeks. Now, one of the things that makes it great to work in these products is the user feedback we get. And with Smart Compose, it's been especially gratifying to me to get feedback from many people saying, you know what, I'm prone to writing errors. And it's not just a matter of saving time with Smart Compose or saving effort. It builds my confidence in professional writing, and that is a great feeling to have. Now, speaking of writing errors and being prone to errors, we studied grammar correction and how do you correct grammar. And we decided to adopt a novel approach to grammar correction. Many of you are familiar with Google Translate that takes text in a language like French and translates it to English. So we adopted that technology, and what we're doing is we're taking text in incorrect English and translating it to corrected English. What's nice about this machine learning approach is it's not brittle like rule-based approaches, and the data sits safe on your servers, on Google servers. No Chrome plugins and data going all over the map. Grammar correction is in Google Docs is available today in beta. And one of the nice things is that these cloud-driven AI writing features just get better and better over time. That is writing reimagined. Let's talk about meetings. Scheduling meetings in the old way is hellacious. This is what you put your employees through every single day. They have to find these 4 people in Tokyo and 7 in Zurich and 2 in London, line up all the time slots, and when they're done with that, the fun hasn't even begun because they have to find meeting rooms of the right sizes in every location. No more with Google Calendar. What we do is just take the list of participants from you, and the rest happens magically. We find the right time slots, but we also find the right rooms in each location based on your historical patterns of which rooms you book, your proximity to your seat, and so on. That is scheduling reimagined. Now, to deepen our commitment to high-definition video meetings, last fall, we launched meeting hardware for our Hangouts Meet service. So this sits in your rooms, lets you have HD video conferencing in a way that's robust, scalable, and affordable. We have customers who've deployed thousands of these rooms. Okay? I'm happy to tell you that we'll be enabling voice commands for Google Meet hardware so that you can start a meeting with, hey, Google, start that meeting. And there's more to come. We'll be rolling this out to select Meet hardware customers over the fall. Now, that said, let's all recognize that AI in the workplace is more than just talking to a plastic box. You have to nail the key user journeys of reading, writing, and meetings. Finally, let's talk simple. Building products that are loved by billions of users has driven a discipline in my team of simplicity in design. And we're bringing that billion-user simplicity to the workplace. And actually, you're seeing that users are demanding it in the workplace, and other vendors are following suit. This is what users increasingly expect. Now, the outcomes of this simplicity are startling and measurable. We've measured that in Google Docs, 74% of the time, users are collaborating, often concurrently, not the old way of serially one person writing on a desktop, handing off an attachment, and version 27.3 later, you're somewhere. Attachments make no sense in the cloud age. They inherently serialize your workflow. They slow you down. They bloat everybody's mailboxes. They lead to a culture of printing, security exposure. I know you're thinking, what a rant about attachments. But actually, there's some interesting insights here, and the insights are not mine. And I'm going to bring on stage and invite the person who taught me these insights. Kim Anstedt is the CIO of Nielsen Corporation, the global measurement and data analytics company. Please join me in welcoming Kim. Hey, Kim. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be here.
So you work at a company that's got a storied legacy of a century, and yet you dove into G Suite. What were you thinking?
It was amazing to start looking at the G Suite journey. When I first think about our company legacy, I'm extremely proud. We have 95 years of continuous innovation. As the world of consumers has changed, our business has to change, and we do that through technology transformation. My job is to make sure over 40,000 associates in over 100 countries have the most robust tools to innovate and service our clients. And the change is happening faster than ever. So in 2015, we started to look for a state-of-the-art collaboration platform, one that would allow our associates to work together anytime, anywhere, on any device. And that brought us to G Suite.
So we talked about simplicity, and that's something you've always espoused. How do you think about simplicity in a suite?
Love the simplicity. I am extremely impressed by the simple yet robust tools in G Suite. Everyday tools like docs, sheets, and slides make our business run easier because we blur the lines between how we live and how we work. One of my favorite examples of work simplified is when I think about those moments when I'm talking to an associate who has just experienced that aha moment, that first moment of saying, there will never be another version 25 of that presentation deck. And never again do they have to wait hours or maybe days for a colleague to send them the latest version of a file so they can apply their edits. That simply doesn't happen with G Suite. And we also found that video was a game changer. Collaboration across teams, across the globe, is so much simpler with one click in Google Meet. But it isn't just the features of G Suite that is simple. We found that the migration to G Suite was extremely simple. On July 18th, 2016, we cut over the entire company in a single weekend. Wow. On Friday, our associates were using their desktop tools for mail and calendar. By Monday morning, they were live in Chrome, accessing Gmail, Calendar, and every collaboration tool they could ask for. This was successful because of the strong partnership we had with Google and Maven Wave that helped us train 2,500 Google Guides, employees of Nielsen that were live within the business to bring their associates up on Monday morning. Our most senior executives were blown away at how seamless our largest global IT deployment was that day. Thank you.
So the tools are great, deployment is good, but what's the business outcome that you get?
It's been incredible. We are absolutely delighted with our decision to go to Google. We have over 90% of our associates that are collaborating in Google Drive. We're seeing over 500,000 video calls each month.
Wow.
And we have a brand new, fresh, 100% digital experience for our employees through our new company intranet that is on Google Sites. But what I love most is the continuous innovation. We have seen over 100 enhancements come out in G Suite just this year in 2018, and over half of those are impacting our employees every day. So what I can say to all of you here today who are thinking about making the move to Google, I can honestly say it's very simple. It'll be the best decision you made, and it's because Prabhakar and team are simply the best.
Thank you so much for your leadership, Kim, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Today, we talked about how organizations are reimagining work using G Suite to get their employees to remove the mundane and literally work on the same page. I'd like to invite you all to join us on this journey of reimagining the workplace. I also want to invite you to join us tomorrow at the stage where my colleague, Garrick Tobasi, will be unveiling additional announcements on G Suite. Now, there's lots of ways beyond the ones I've shared today where AI enhances our lives. And here to tell you more about them is my colleague, Fei-Fei Li. Thank you.
Good morning. In my nearly 2 decades as an AI technologist, I've watched our field evolve in remarkable ways. Today, even though it's still a nascent science, AI is transforming industries all over the world. And in the process, it has the potential to dramatically improve the way we work and live. AI is empowerment, and it's our goal to democratize it. At Google Cloud, the last year has been one of innovation in AI. We've advanced the state of the art significantly, all while making it more accessible than it's ever been. With our APIs, some of the most powerful tools capabilities of machine learning can be realized in just a few lines of code. For example, Bloomberg is using our cloud translation API to deliver news to a global audience in seconds. Of course, data plays a pivotal role in AI, which is why Kaggle, our data science platform, makes over 7,000 data sets publicly available. With nearly 2 million members today, it's the world's largest community of data scientists. We're also lowering the compute barriers to AI with our tensor processing units, or TPUs. These custom chips dramatically accelerate machine learning tasks and are easily accessed through the cloud. TPUs allow eBay to reduce training time of their visual search model by a factor of almost 100, from months to days. And researchers at Stanford use TPUs to build an image recognition model so sophisticated that neuroscientists can use it to understand how vision works in primate brains. Our second-generation TPUs, announced last year, are now generally available. This means they are within reach of every cloud user, including free tier users. Today, I'm excited to announce that we're bringing our third-generation TPUs to cloud, demonstrating our ongoing commitment to put the best hardware in the hands of AI developers. And this is just the beginning. We're working with customers from retail to healthcare, from education to manufacturing, and from agriculture to entertainment. AI is no longer a niche for the tech world. It's the differentiator for businesses in every industry. But true democratization means bringing the differentiator to an even wider range of developers. We know that many of you need more flexibility than our APIs were designed for, but aren't yet ready to make use of the advanced tools like TensorFlow and Cloud ML Engine. That's why we developed AutoML. AutoML lets you extend our most powerful machine learning models to recognize data specific to your challenges without writing code. With AutoML, anyone can make machine learning work for them. Our first release was AutoML Vision. It extends the Cloud Vision API to identify entirely new categories of images. This made a big difference for urban outfitters. They wanted to provide a visual search feature to let users order a product as soon as it catches their eye, even in the real world, all through a mobile app. Unfortunately, their in-house model didn't meet their expectations, and they needed a new approach. After evaluating their options, they decided to start over using AutoML, trained on images from their catalog. First came an immediate accuracy boost. Since AutoML is based on Google's state-of-the-art image recognition technology, their app had a major advantage when recognizing products in the real world. It was faster too. Processing time dropped from over 10 seconds to just 2 or 3, and training time fell from weeks to a matter of hours. And although it's based on Cloud Vision API, the resulting model is available only to urban outfitters. We believe your data is not only private, but should remain your competitive advantage. That's why none of the data that trains on an AutoML model is used in any other Google machine learning application. We're excited to announce today that AutoML Vision is going to public beta. Over 18,000 of you have already signed up to use it in industries ranging from manufacturing to healthcare to entertainment. We can't wait to see what you will create next. And today, we're also announcing 2 new AutoML products, extending its capability to language. The first is AutoML Natural Language, which builds on the text analysis abilities of our natural language API to include an understanding of subject matter specific to your industry. The second is AutoML translation, which extends Google's machine learning language translation technology to recognize jargon, terms, and figures of speech of your application in 27 language pairs, with more on the way. This means translations that more faithfully capture the nuance your audience expects. And now, to demonstrate how easy it is to apply AutoML to your own ideas, please welcome developer advocate Sarah Robinson.
Thanks, Fei-Fei. The best way to see how AutoML Vision and natural language work is through live demos. Let's start with Vision. To show you AutoML Vision, we'll look at a model I've built for predicting the species of a leaf given an image. The data for this is sourced from the LeafSnap dataset, and our model was trained on images of 10 different types of leaves. Here, in the AutoML Vision UI, is where I gather and label all of the images that will be used to train my model. I can upload them directly to the UI, and I only need 10 images per label to start training. The best part about AutoML is that I don't need to write any of the model code to train this. I can simply press the train button to train my model. This particular model took exactly 1 hour to train. When training completes, I can take a look at metrics to evaluate accuracy. This is what's called the confusion matrix. It tells us the percentage of images for each label that our model was able to classify correctly. Ideally, we'll see a strong diagonal down the top left, since this means our model classified a high percentage of the images in our test set correctly. And we can click on any cell to see the specific images where our model got confused. Finally, the most important part of this process is generating predictions on images our model hasn't seen before. Let's try our model out by generating predictions on 2 images of leaves. As someone who's not a plant expert, I'd probably classify both of these as leaves, or if we're being very technical, green leaves. Let's see what our model says. Turns out these both belong to different species, and our model was predicted both varieties correctly with over 96% confidence. Once we have a trained model, AutoML gives us access to a custom REST API endpoint to make predictions. If I add more images and train a new version of my model, I only need to change the model ID in my API request. I am incredibly excited about AutoML because it gives anyone the tools to build custom models, regardless of their machine learning expertise. You might even say that AutoML Vision is turning over a new leaf in the way we build image classification models. And although I've shown plant species classification here, you could easily build a model in any other domain. We've seen our alpha users build AutoML Vision models for identifying damaged products before they're shipped, classifying catalog-specific images, and identifying points in time, like stages of construction. But what about other kinds of information, like text documents or news articles? With AutoML natural language, it's just as easy to build a custom model to make sense of written content. Take DonorsChoose.org, for example, a nonprofit that receives hundreds of thousands of proposals each year for classroom projects in need of funding. They currently rely on a team of volunteers to manually screen each submission. So they published a data set to Kaggle in hopes that a community of machine learning experts could build them an automated solution. Let's see if AutoML natural language can help. Similar to AutoML Vision, here I can look at all of the examples in my data set and their corresponding label. The text inputs to our model are need statements from the teachers, detailing the materials they need for their classroom. Each need request has an associated category to help direct the teacher's request to a relevant donor. The labels used to train the model have been assigned manually by volunteers. Once the model is trained, it'll be able to predict the category of new requests automatically. To see how our model performs on new text that hasn't been categorized yet, we'll take the following need statement as an example. My students need aquarium lighting for our environmental clownfish aquaculture project. Donors Choose needs to assign the category lab equipment to this request, which isn't completely obvious from the text itself. Let's try it out on our trained model. We can see that our model was able to correctly classify this as lab equipment with 98% confidence. Like AutoML Vision, I now have access to a custom model that I can use to generate predictions on new text with one API request. That's really all there is to it. Without writing any model code, you can build custom machine learning models that can accurately recognize your own images, understand the contents of your documents, and even translate your jargon authentically. They're ready to use immediately, accessible through Google Cloud, and they scale automatically to meet your needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. It's amazing how quickly this field is advancing. But progress brings challenges as well. And more of you are asking for guidance in AI development for developing an enterprise AI strategy that's as powerful as it's trustworthy. AI has the potential to empower us like no other technology. But that power demands responsibility. For example, algorithmic bias is a concern for everyone. So as AutoML brings machine learning to more developers than ever before, we've invested heavily in a set of best practices to help you build models that you can trust to treat your users with fairness. All over Google Cloud, we're taking measures like this to ensure AI is making a positive impact, not just in our own products, but in everything our users build as well. We call it human-centered AI. I'm pleased to announce this human-centered approach is driving an entire category of technology we call AI solutions, intended to solve some of our partners' biggest problems. Our first of many to come is focused on contact centers. Working in a contact center requires some of our most uniquely known human skills, like navigating informal language, understanding context, and recognizing what someone needs from limited information. Unfortunately, call volume is often too much for a human workforce. So we worked with some of the top players in this space to understand how AI can make them more effective. We call it contact center AI. To show us the difference this technology can make, I'd like to welcome Dan Leva, VP of Customer Service Technology at eBay, and Marianne Tiboy, CMO of Genesys, the leading provider of customer experience solutions. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Dan. Let me start with you. What are the most challenging issues you face when handling customer calls at eBay?
Well, thanks, Feifei. I'd say it boils down to three fundamental problems. First, of course, is when a caller has to navigate the infamous phone tree, usually by what seems like an endless series of questions they have to answer just to get the system to recognize the reason for the call. Most of us just want to talk to a human being. I'm sure everyone in the audience can relate to that. Second problem is keeping track of information. Because here's the irony. Half the time when we finally reach a live agent, they ask us to repeat information we gave the phone tree. And then finally, agents often have limited access to the information they need for the caller. They have to go put the caller on hold and go search for that information.
I couldn't agree more. So, Marianne, how has your team worked with Google AI and eBay to address these issues?
Right. Yeah, so we spent quite a bit of quality time together with Google and eBay to think about old paradigms and removing obstacles from customer experience. Create a new world for customer engagement, really. And I'll sync with Dan and talk about three things. First of all, we would like to greet our callers with natural language. We don't see any reason for this paradigm of choices, say yes and no. We think that a normal dialogue, a normal conversation would be the ultimate answer. And with Google Contact Center AI and Genesis combined, we can now do that. Secondly, we believe blended AI is the path to the future. And we think that AI and humans interplaying will always drive the best customer experience. We do that with our AI platform called Kate. And on top of that, we have built predictive routing, which is our product that at any given time will match the optimal customer with the optimal agent based on the outcome that we predict. And last but not least, we're also bringing AI to the desktop. We believe that agents can be helped and served with AI. We do that by offering them articles, by offering them knowledge, even microbots that will make certain tasks easier to do. That will also count for new agents, and we believe that on-hold events and transfer events will go down quite dramatically, and that in itself will return a much better customer satisfaction.
That sounds great. So Dan, how has Contact Center AI helped eBay?
Well, why don't I show you? We prepared a video of our prototype in action. It begins with Mala, who needs to return a pair of shoes, and then we meet Josh, a real eBay customer service agent. Let's see how Contact Center AI helps them out.
Let's see.
Hello, Mala. I'm an automated agent. Welcome back to eBay. It looks like we just delivered you white Pamarca size 6 running shoes on June 25th. Are you calling about this order?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, how can I help you with that order?
Unfortunately, they don't fit, so I need to return them.
I can help you with that. I am starting a return for you. You will be receiving an email with the details of your return.
Cool, thanks.
Mala conversed with a virtual agent that understood Mala's intent to return her shoes and automatically fulfilled it. But now Mala needs another, better-fitting pair of shoes. The virtual agent will detect this and will offer to connect Mala to a live agent.
One more thing. Would you like me to connect you to an eBay fashion expert to help find you the right shoes?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Mala now wants to purchase a pair of shoes. Google Contact Center AI recognizes this intent and works with Genesis predictive routing to find the best agent to help. Genesis predicts that Josh, among all qualified agents, is the best matching fashion expert to help Mala at this moment. Mala's call is routed to Josh, including all previous context about Mala's order and her conversation with the virtual agent.
Hello there, Mala. My name is Josh. I'd be happy to help you find the right.
The transcript of Mala's conversation with a virtual agent is visible to Josh, and her conversation with Josh is also transcribed and interpreted in real time. As Josh and Mala are speaking, Agent Assist interprets the audio and builds context on the meaning and the intent of the conversation. This allows Agent Assist to find relevant answers and articles to help Josh in real time.
I definitely recommend tennis shoes since they're designed to have the right support, grip, and to avoid an injury. What type of court will you be playing on?
It will be primarily hard court.
And is Pamarca your brand of preference, or would you like to explore other brands?
I like Pamarca shoes.
Agent Assist detected in real time that another knowledge base page contains the right content for Mala's request and made it available to Josh.
All right. I just searched eBay for you for hard court tennis shoes, women's size 6, and I found a great listing. Would you like me to text it to you, or would you rather receive it via email?
Could you text it?
Certainly. Thanks for choosing eBay.
That was cool. I think we're all excited about spending less time on hold. But it's more than that. Contact Center AI elevates human talent. It makes simple tasks faster while making human interactions more meaningful. Google has several technologies that help users take action or communicate over the phone. And while Contact Center AI and the recently announced Duplex share some underlying components, they have distinct technology stacks and aims overall. And Contact Center AI is compliant with our data privacy and governance policies, making it ready for enterprise use. We're working hard to bring contact center AI to you with partners in the space like Genesys and Mitel, along with system integrators such as KPMG and Deloitte. We're happy to announce today that Contact Center AI is in alpha and open for signups. AutoML and Contact Center AI are examples of our passion for bringing AI to every industry, all while elevating the role of human talent. We're creating technology that's not just powerful, but trustworthy, with an ongoing dialogue between product designers, engineers, legal experts, ethicists, and more. And earlier this year, we demonstrated our commitment to responsible AI with a set of published principles that guide our decisions. But above all, this is a partnership with you, our customers. It's a shared effort and journey to understand not just your challenges, but your users and their communities, to increase engagement and reinforce trust. It's how we're helping you harness AI to detect fraud more quickly, manufacture products with greater consistency, recommend content with more insight, and empower your employees to be faster and more creative with intelligent tools. Above all, it's how we're living up to a simple idea. Rather than replacing human skills, AI's greatest potential lies in enhancing humanity. Thank you. Now, I'd like to welcome back on stage Diane Green.
Thank you. All right. You know, Feifei and her team are actually digitally transforming dolphin research. Earlier, I have a Georgetown University professor friend, Janet Mann, who has 35 years of dolphin fin photos. The unique ID for a dolphin is their fin. And they've been tracking these dolphins painstakingly over the last 35 years, she and her graduate students, up and down the Atlantic coast and also in Shark Bay, Australia, where I've actually been out in the boat spotting them. And a few months ago, we applied AutoML to these images, and they can now do in a few minutes what used to take them months, tens of thousands of hours. In fact, they can do things they never thought they could do before. They're crowdsourcing dolphin fin photos now to track them. It's just incredible what AI, you know, the opportunity we have in AI to better understand our world. And of course, cloud is an equally big opportunity. And in closing out this morning's keynote, I just want to leave you with a few takeaways. I think everybody is going to move to the cloud. And whether you're re-engineering your company, rethinking how you work, or simply taking advantage of our cloud infrastructure or using our AI, just know that we're here to partner with you to help you disrupt in a non-disruptive way. The theme of this conference is Made Here Together. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, our customers. Thank you, our partners. And thank you, Googlers, for all that we make together. And have a great week here at Google Next. Bye-bye.